I want us to look back, not over just this last year, but over our life. And we're going to review that this morning. I have the purpose for this. I'll show it in a minute. I'm a country music fan. I like to hear the twang of the guitar and the sad songs they sing. I always have. A while back I was watching the Grand Ole Opry, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. They were having a tribute show for little Jimmy Dickens because he'd performed on that show for 50 years. One of the performers that paid his tribute to Mr. Dickens was Jimmy Dean, the guy that makes the sausage. And he gave it wasn't really a poem, it was kind of a reading, I guess. He didn't sing it. But the title was, I'm drinking from the saucer, for my cup has overflowed. And that's one of those things that sticks with you. That stuck with me. So I'm going to talk about that this morning. Since I heard this and thought about my life, I realized that I remember more the days when my cup is half full, which are very few, to the ones, the days I drink from the saucer because my cup has overflown. It's so easy when the days when the life is good, when things are well with us, that when that bad day comes, it seems like it lasts forever. So this morning, as we go into this, I want you, I'm going to speak some this morning personally about my family. I want you to do the same. Look back over your life and see how bad it was and how good it was. I have two or three things I want to talk about. This first one, when I was messing about Susan, going to get to go out of this country and the experience she'll have and all what she will tell us when she gets back. Think what that means for a young lady like her to get to do that. Amy did last summer. I think that I know Amy did, they find out that we live in a pretty good place. I have never been out of this country. But what I hear and what I see on television of other places, I feel that the day I was born and become a citizen of the United States, my cup runneth over. Even with all the wickedness and the weaknesses the country has, it's still the best in the world. And we need to, a lot of times, instead of dwelling on the bad, look at the good things. That's what we're going to try to do this morning. I've always been amazed at this fertile land we have. I've farmed that land for probably 40 years. The best in the world is right here. This year, in a year of overabundance, it's almost a curse to those that feed us because it's hard for them to make a living for their family. We could feed the world. If we could get it to them, we could feed the whole world with what we can raise. My brother Don went on one of Tom Dennis's tours to Egypt and Israel. Said he seen women washing their clothes on a rock in the river. an old shepherd out in the sand with his sheep and goes trying to find something for him to eat. They said when they came back over to the United States, it said it just looked like a green paradise. This place where we live. You see, we are all drinking from the saucer because our cup has overflowed. I'm going to speak of something this morning I usually don't do. I'm going to talk about my parents. You know, parents, most of us been parents. We care for our little babies. When they can't take care of themselves. And we try to shape them into what they will be when they're grown. We hope Christian people, law-abiding people. And that's why the Bible tells us, honor your father and mother. It don't say whether they're good parents or bad parents. It says you honor your mother and father. So I'm going to speak about my parents a minute. Because I feel, as I look back, so many times I thought it was hard and all. I see now that my cup had run over and I was drinking from the saucer. First of all, the same as your parents said, they took care of us when we couldn't do it ourselves. And they showed us the way to an honorable life. They molded us in that. Most do. Some, of course, don't, but most do. My father, I would say, was probably a strong disciplinarian. But he would do anything for his children as long as it was right. He had a good name in his neighborhood. He knew the Lord and served Him in his life. He was an officer in the church. He was a good example to us children and to those, I think, that knew him. December 5th, he would have been 103 years old. He died at 62 years of age of leukemia, a young man. Mom, my mother, was what I always thought a mother should be. Never once did she disappoint me. She took care of us 6 children in the Depression years with no modern convenience, no water in the house, no bathroom in the house. And I wonder yet today how in the world she fed us. To get wood in the old cook stove and build a fire, carrying the water, fill the lamps. But she did that. When I was in my running around years, I never came home whether it was midnight or 3 o'clock in the morning before she said, "Carroll, is that you?" Probably laying there awake till she heard that door. She loved us whether we were sick or well, or whether good or bad. Whether we were wrong or right. Carson, my oldest brother, was in the first draft of the Second World War. He was gone for 4 years, and we never seen him. He went to Australia and fought in New Guinea and those islands. Mom wrote him every day for 4 years. He told me that when Mom passed away and he was back. He said what that meant to him. Of course, he didn't get him every day. But she never missed a day. That was Mom. That was our mother. And you look at yours, and you'll find out probably she was the same way herself. But when I think of home, how primitive it was in today's way things are today. The things we were taught, the fun that we had, we made it ourselves, the fun ourselves. I look back and see that I was drinking from the saucer. For my cup had overflown. The next, I would like to talk about the church. I've known about the church and Jesus all my life. As soon as I could learn things, I did. And I cannot imagine my life without the church. I can't even imagine that. Living a life without the Lord and Jesus in my life. I can't even imagine it. It's my hope. It's your hope. Only through the church and Jesus do we have hope of salvation. In Acts 4:11 and 12, speaking of Jesus, this is the stone which was set at naught of you builders, which has become the head of the corner. Neither is there salvation in any other. For there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. We need, as members of the church, to give the best that we have. Not the leftovers, but the best that we have. We need to be a member, not just a bystander, a member that works in the church. Counted on to fulfill our responsibility, and we fulfill that. How fortunate we are here. It has got so there are so many of us can speak Sunday morning that we miss out for 2 months, some of us. We need to count our blessings of those that are willing and have the talent to do that. You folks that here means the world to me. You have encouraged me over these years. You have corrected me over these years. And you have put up with me all this time. And I know that if I'm ever in want of anything, that you will help me. Because I know you. You're my brothers and sisters. I know you. I'm sure that when the frailties of old age overtake me, when I am older than I am now, that you will help me and be patient with me. I know you will. So you see, my cup runneth over because of you. It runs over for us because Pam and Dave are back. They have placed membership with us, going to work with us, and we can lean on one another. They're going to be our neighbors just across the field. Little Jake has had 2 operations on his eyes, and they've helped him. Our cup runneth over. Paul and the boys are coming home today. They still like to come home. Where Grandma and I, we aren't very exciting, I don't think, but they still like to come home. But you know, we live here and the realities of life come to us. And we have to drink of the bitter cup. In time, it comes to us all. Just because we love Jesus, love the church, or in the church, doesn't mean that we won't have these things. We bury our loved ones. Mom and Pop are over here just a little ways. Their body's buried in the ground, their spirits is flown away. That's life. That's comes to us all. We get disappointed in ourselves, or sometimes with our brethren, with the church. And we forget so easily the blessings of the Lord. In Matthew 26:38 and 39, Jesus speaking, Then saith he unto them, My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me. Of course, this was in the Garden of Gethsemane with his apostles. And it says he went a little farther and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. We know this, the agony he suffered wasn't all on the cross. But this was before that. This cup, this bitter cup that he had to drink, and we know that he did that. We know that this cup did not pass from him. The Scripture tells us that when Jesus was on the cross, about the 9th hour, as I understand, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Jesus said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? God had done that. He withdrew himself from his Son because he needed a complete sacrifice for our sins, for the sins of the world. Jesus tells us in Hebrews 13:5 and 6, Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as you have. For he hath said, I will never leave thee or forsake thee. So that we may boldly say, The Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do to me, unto me. If there's any leaving done, it's us leaving Jesus, leaving the church. We do the leaving. We separate ourselves from God, from the church, by the very action sometimes. David said, The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Now listen to this. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Think of that. Death is a dread for all. We don't want to leave this place. But remember, if you are a Christian and faithful to the church, where we can't go with our loved one, but the Lord will. David said, I fear no evil because thou art with me. Says, thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So this morning, as we look forward to New Year, let's look back and count our blessing and see what has brought us to this time, to this place. And we're going to find that most days the Lord blesses us abundantly. It's just hard to remember them because of the bad days, which are few. And as the Lord has blessed us and shown His love to us, let us continue as we do now, do that to each other. Tell each other we love them. We love you. And show that. We need to remember, as David did, when he said, the Lord is my shepherd. And if we let Him, He will lead us in the paths of righteousness. And even though we cross the valley of death, which we will, He will not forsake us. He will not leave us. So this morning I hope, when we review our lives, hope you have done that you will consider the many good days and the few bad. The many good times, the many bad are few. And you can say, I'm drinking from the saucer, for my cup has overflowed. The church, only through the church is there salvation. Only through Jesus is there salvation. It's not salvation if we're not a member of it. It's not a salvation for us if we don't live in it as we should. But oh, the peace that comes from feeling that you have done some good for yourself, for the church, for the people around you. What a good feeling that is. So this morning as we sing an invitation song, if there's something that we can help you with, come forward and we will try to do that. We need to lean on each other, trust each other, love one another, trust in the Lord, and we can overcome the things in this world. Our cup will overflow.